Hello, my lovely Tingle Buddies. Welcome back to another ASMR video. So, a few months ago, one of my very first videos, I did write my life, where I had note cards and I basically wrote down key details about my life so you, my Tingle Buddies, could get to know me a little bit better. But I was like, I'm not good at drawing, and so at the time, I was like, the easiest thing to do would be write my life and then read them off to you, read the note cards off. But I kind of want to do it again, except tell you my life instead of drawing, because I'm not that good of a drawer. The only things I'm good at drawing is bubble letters and hearts, and they're not that good either. So I'm gonna just sit here today and kind of tell you my life story. So if you want to keep watching, please do. And if you find anything questionable, ask it down below. Comment anything you have comments on. So sit back, relax, and let me tell you my life. And if you've already watched that video, you may know, pretty much everything I'm gonna say already. But that was before I had, I don't even think I had 100 subscribers yet. I may have had, around 100, a little bit more, a little bit less. But now that I have more of a viewer account, I thought a lot more people would enjoy me telling you my life. So let's get started. So I was born on August 10th, 2000, in Alabama, where since I live in Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi. I've always lived in Mississippi, but we live so close to Alabama that the bigger hospitals, I guess you would say, the bigger doctors, the closest ones to us were in Alabama. So I was born in Alabama, but as soon, as I was born and ready to come home, that was in Mississippi. And there's flies flying around, little fruit flies, just ignore that. And it may be raining outside, and also background noise, can't help it, sorry. Anyway, so I was born in Alabama, but as soon as I came home from the hospital, that was in Mississippi. And I weighed 8 pounds, 10 ounces. Fun fact, my birthday is 8/10, August the 8th month, and 10th, the 10th day in August. And I weighed 8 pounds, 10 ounces, so that was kind of a really cool coincidence. Another fun fact, all of my birthday is even numbers, and I love even numbers, because I have OCD, so odd numbers just don't agree with me. So I thought it was really cool to have my whole birthday even numbers. And if I'm talking a little fast, I'm sorry guys. I don't have that much space on my phone at the moment, and so I needed to make this video pretty fast. So yeah, I weighed 8 pounds, 10 ounces, and as a kid, my family had money. My parents were together, and so from the age of probably before I was maybe 1 to 4 years old, we would always go on vacation, and the place we would always go was the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, because that was my dad's favorite place to go. He loved the Smoky Mountains. We would go, some years we would go twice a year. We would go, around his birthday, which is in October, and we would go in the springtime, which is probably the prettiest times to go to the Smoky Mountains. And then other years we would just go around his birthday, which was October. And we also went to Dollywood, is that it? But sadly, I don't really remember a lot of the vacations I had as a kid, because I was so young. But I do have pictures, and I found a picture album. There's flies. And I might show you guys some of the pictures I found. I found a lot of my baby pictures and kid pictures, so I really do want to share that with you guys one day. But the age of 5, it was the late August 29th, something like that. Hurricane Katrina hit. If you're from the South, the low South, really if you're from anywhere in the world, you should have heard of Hurricane Katrina. It hit in 2005. It hit right after my birthday. My birthday's August 10th, like I mentioned, and the end of August, and I had a strawberry shortcake birthday that year too. I have pictures of that somewhere. But yeah, it hit, and we were at my grandparents' house. And so where we live in Mississippi, I'm not going to give details, but it was pretty bad, and we live close to a river. I don't even know the name of the river, but it flooded. It rose, so my grandparents' house flooded, and fortunately, they have a 2-story house, so we all stayed in the 2-story part of the house, the second story. And yeah, so that was, we have a videotape somewhere, I think my dad has it, where they filmed part of the hurricane. But yeah, that was a very memorable moment. Hurricane Katrina was horrible, and a lot of people, as soon as they think of Hurricane Katrina, they automatically think New Orleans. And honestly, if you didn't know this, New Orleans didn't even get hit by the hurricane all the way. The biggest area that got hit was Biloxi, Mississippi, but the reason that New Orleans got a lot of attention was because the levees broke, and that's why it flooded so much. But the actual hurricane part didn't even hit in New Orleans, it hit in Biloxi. So yeah, that was pretty bad. And yeah, anyway, and the flooding didn't even start till after the hurricane had hit. But anyway, so that was 2005, and in 2006 April, my sister was born, Valerie. Yeah, there's not much to say about that. I mean, I was so excited to get a sister. Fun fact, my dad asked me what they should name her, and I said it should start with a V, because my name started with a V and I didn't really like it, because I don't really care for my name too much. That's why I go by Tori. So yeah, my dad was like, what should we name her? And I was like, it needs to start with a V, because if I have to have a V name, or V starting name, she should too, because I thought it should be even. But yeah, so they named her Valerie. Also, my dad named her after Valerie Bertinelli, which is an actress, because he kind of had a crush on her. Anyway, so I don't know the exact date, but around 2007 my parents got a divorce, and it didn't bother me much. I guess at the time it did, but now thinking back on it, I don't really care, because it's just a normal part. I've lived more years in my life with them being divorced, so it's like just a normal thing for me. And then a few months after their divorce, when they got divorced, my dad moved into some apartments, about 20 minutes, 10-15 minutes away from where we lived. And then a few months later, me, my mom, and Valerie had to end up moving. We ended up moving to my mom's boyfriend's house at the time, which was like an hour, 2 hours away from where we lived. And I did not like it at all, because for one, it was my first time moving schools, and I was in 2nd grade. It was around spring break of 2nd grade. And also who she was dating was not the best person in the world. And what I mean by that is the people they hung around with kind of made me feel uncomfortable, because they were the drinking type, and he did not live by himself. He lived with his son, which was a few years older than me, and he was, and I was like 8, so he was like 13 or 14, and he did drugs. And then he lived with 2 nieces. He had 2 nieces or whatever, and they listened to like that hard rap with a bunch of cussing. And being at the age I was and raised in a Christian family at the time, it just made me feel uncomfortable. And fast forward a little bit, they ended up getting married, but they had a private wedding, so nobody was there. And they were married like 3 months and got a divorce. But also, before the divorce, the house that he lived in actually caught on fire because they had a unit in their wall, and we would, for some stupid reason, it sounds stupid now, they would pile clothes in front of it, and it had turned on by itself one day, and clothes in front of a heater doesn't mix well, so the house caught on fire. Fortunately, the whole house did not collapse. The only part that really got messed up was the bathroom that it was in, but the rest of the house was unlivable because of all the smoke and smut, and it had, got everything black inside the house. So we lived with his parents, after that. But anyway, so they got a divorce. And on my dad, on my dad's side of the family or whatever, my dad ended up meeting someone that lived in Alabama. And so every other weekend we would go, to where he lived, and he married a woman named Cindy. Now, Cindy, I could make a separate video for this alone. She was the worst stepmom. Like, she was, I mean, like, I'll give you an example. We went to Gulf Shores one day, and she had a bunch of nieces and nephews, and they were cool, we were cool. And her son, she had a son named Hunter, and he was like 5 years older than me or something, and everybody got to get a Coke, okay? Everybody, all the adults, all the kids got to get a Coke. But me and my sister, we had to get a Kool-Aid. Now, thinking about it now, we shouldn't have got a Coke that young anyway. I don't think Cokes are good for anybody really, but I'm addicted to them now. Coca-Cola, not Coke, yeah. So, I thought that was unfair. And also, she would make me and my sister sit at the table until we got finished eating all of her food, which, I mean, I understand, wasting's not a good thing, but when you're forcing kids to eat all their food, and they're not hungry, to the point where they get sick, because we've gotten sick a lot of times trying to sit there eat all of our food. It's pretty bad, and my dad kind of just had to go along with it because, he loved her at the time. And yeah, and also her son tried to drown me in their pool. He put me on his shoulders and went underwater one time, and I couldn't breathe. He wasn't really gonna kill me, but he tried to scare me, and he also tried to lock me in their shed, which scars me to this day sometimes. But yeah, around 2000, they got married in 2009, this June of 2009, and then they got divorced like at the end of 2009, maybe early 2010. So they weren't married long either. And so he moved to my grandparents' house, which is in the town that I was, born and raised. And then my mom, after she got divorced, we moved to the county that she was born and raised in, which is a few counties up from where I was raised. And that's where my grandma lives. That's why I have a grandma here, and then I have grandparents there, because my grandpa, which is my mom's dad, actually died when she was 14 from a blood clot, so I never got to meet him. But so anyways, so we moved here, and we never had a lot of money. My mom did. My mom never did. My mom was a nurse for she still is a nurse, but she has a lot of like neck problems and back problems, so she's kind of retired for the nursing job, but she works now at a assisted living home, but she's a cook there. So but yeah, she's an LPN nurse, so she did make a lot of money when I was younger and stuff. That's, but when they got divorced, they both kind of lost their jobs and stuff. But anyway, so when we moved to the county I'm currently living in, we always had to live in trailers because we live out in the country. There's not many houses, and when there are, they're expensive to buy, and we weren't never planning on buying one anyway. We're gonna rent, and so we ended up moving back and forth from my grandmother's house to a trailer. And then the first trailer we lived in, we rented from my uncle, which is my mom's half brother, and then something happened there. We moved back to my grandmother's, then moved into another trailer, which was very small. Something happened there. We moved back to my grandmother's, and then after that we moved to another trailer, which was down a road called well, I'm not going to say the road name, but it was a little dirt road, and that's actually how I met not my best friend, one of my friends, Gwyneth, because like 2 or 3 years after living in that trailer, she started riding the bus because her stepdad family owns that land or whatever, and that she ended up coming to live with her mom because she lived with her dad, and she ended up riding her school bus and stuff. But anyway, we had to move out of that trailer, and after that we did not move back to my grandmother's. We moved into another trailer my uncle was renting, and then that was in 2014, and then from December to April, and then the end of April we ended up buying this trailer that we're currently living in. It's a 2000 model, so it's not, the outside looks bad, but the inside, as you can see, it doesn't look that bad. But anyways, so that's kind of my life from my mom's side. And then my dad's side, well, after he got divorced, with Cindy, I think it was like it was around New Year's 2011. He said, we were at my grandparents' house, and he's like, do you want to come with me to meet one of my friends? Meet one of my friends. And I was like, sure. And so we went, and she lived like 10 minutes away from my grandparents' house, and she had a daughter named Braylon and a son named AJ. And I don't know their ages, then, but I know now Braylon's 14, and her birthday's in November, and AJ is 18. He turned 18 in May, so I'm kind of in between both of their ages. But Braylon was a big brat. She still is, but at the time she was like, I guess like 8, maybe 9. I think she was 8, and the first time we went to their house, she was crying and screaming for her mama to go get her a cookie. I can remember that. I don't know why. But yeah, so they ended up dating. Her name's Tammy. So my dad and Tammy, dated. This was in 2011, and they kept dating. And then in May of 2012, my sister was born, Jolie. And then I think September of 2013, they ended up having to move. And so I think around this time they had broken up. So my dad ended up renting a trailer a few miles down the road, and then Tammy ended up renting a house like 15 minutes away, and so they were broken up, but we still got to see Jolie. And then they were broken up for about 6 months or something, and then they ended up getting back together, but they still didn't live together. And then my dad ended up not having enough money to rent the trailer he lived in. So the end of like he moved in that trailer around the time we moved into this house, I think. But anyway, so at the end of like 2014, he ended up moving in with her. And my Braylon had a friend named Caitlin, and Caitlin's mom was actually my sister's babysitter, because Caitlin also had a sister that was around the same age as Jolie. And so they were friends, and so the babysitter ended up living with them, and their house is pretty big. There's like 3 bedrooms, and AJ had long gone moved out with his dad, and Braylon at the time was living with the mom, because her and Caitlin were friends. But then they ended up moving out because Tammy and the babysitter wasn't getting along, and so then they kept so it was my dad, Tammy, and Jolie, and they were living in the house, and to this day they're still living in that house. Tammy, she's some kind of a nurse. She's not a nurse. She's a doctor's assistant or something like that, a nurse's assistant. She's the type of person who can take your temperature at a doctor's office, can weigh you and measure you, but she's not a nurse. My dad right now, currently, he is working for a company who sells tobacco products. He doesn't do drugs or do tobacco, but he is basically like a delivery person, because all of his life he, his main thing was like a delivery person. So he's been a milkman. He's when I was a baby to like 8 years old, he delivered milk, Dairy Fresh milk, which is a brand of milk around here. And he drove the milk truck and delivered it to stores. And before I was born, he delivered Pepsi products to stores. And then now he's delivering tobacco products to stores. But he's had jobs in between there. But that's what he's known for, is delivery person. And Jolie, right now she's 5 years old. And every other weekend I go see them. And Tammy and my dad still together, but their relationship's not perfect. They still have fights all the time. They still yell at each other, whatever. I know that may be too much information out there, but oh well. And currently now, go back to my mom's side, it's me, my mom, and Valerie. Because Valerie and me are by my mom and dad. We're actual siblings fully, and then Jolie is just my half sister by my dad. And about July of 2016, my mom met a guy named Jimmy, and they had been dating. And then December of 2016, he ended up having to move in with us because he couldn't pay rent on his travel trailer anymore. And at first I didn't like him moving in, to be honest, because it was just not a normal thing. Like, it was just me, my mom, and my sister. But then he ended up moving in, and he still lives with us, which I don't 100% like still to this day, but I'm getting used to it. And so yeah, it's Jimmy, my mom, me, and Valerie living here. And yeah, I go to school. I'm in 10th grade. I've been at the same school since 3rd grade, which kindergarten through 4th, or pre-K to 4th at the elementary school, and then 5th to 8th at the middle or junior high, and then 9th to 12th at the high school. So I've been in 3rd grade, to currently going into 11th at the same school. So and I didn't like moving schools, but the school I went to when I was from kindergarten to 4th, no, not 4th, 2nd, what am I saying? It was a very bad school, has low ratings, and I'm not being racist at all, but it was a majority of blacks, because the city that is in is got a lot of blacks. And I'm not, this sounds so racist, I'm not being racist, it's just that's the truth. And not that blacks are bad or anything, but a lot of people were in gangs and stuff, and it's just a bad influenced area. My dad went to school there and stuff, and my whole dad's side of the family did, really. And my mom actually went, she lived in the county that we're in, but back then you could live out of the county and go to any school, but now you can't do that. So I'm having to go to the county school that the county I'm living in, even though we live on the county line. But yeah, so that is my life story. There's a lot of details I could have went in if I had more time, but unfortunately I don't. But I hope you enjoyed. I know this may not be ASMR all the way. I am having a lower voice, but if you have any questions, or you want me to exaggerate more on certain parts of my life, you can let me know. I think my cat's under my sister's cat's under my bed. I heard it anyway. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys in another ASMR video. Bye.